So, Diamondback, probably my least used weapon slash exotic. I've tested out most weapons and found out really weird and wacky things about them and things that are meta breaking as well. Lightweight M4, trust me. However, the Diamondback has always been one weapon that I've never really looked into, and upon looking into it, it's basically just Negotiator's Dilemma, Negotiator's Dilemma, Negotiator's Dilemma. And for me, this was a dilemma. So I wanted to come up with a weird and wacky way in which you could possibly get something else a bit more out of it. I'm not saying Negotiator's Dilemma is a good way to go. It probably would be shot for shot. This does more, but with Negotiators, because you're near enough guaranteeing a crit, as long as you mark up the correct people, you're sharing an epic amount of damage, which works out really, really well in the end. My biggest drawback with this weapon is the buff lasts for 5 seconds. The reload itself is like 2.5 seconds, and you don't really get a lot of uptime on its buff. It can, however, prove quite useful depending on how you build it, as you are able to essentially guarantee big damage per shot. That being said, upon playing around with it, I kind of just prefer the Virginian. Not only does the Virginian just do more damage, Perfect Boomerang really does help with the magazine size, just because Perfect Boomerang is really handy. Which is why I decided to actually play around with this in Golden Bullet, because where you can do so much damage. If you've got Golden Bullet, you're basically just infinite ammo, and you can spam this really, 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 really fast. So it ended up being quite a bit of fun. Overall though, this build is quite fun, and for a perfect glass cannon build, it's actually quite survivable, which is interesting, just because of how we've got it built. Damage wise, it hits very, very hard. Probably would be of more use to someone who doesn't have complete and utter potato aim like me, but it certainly is a fun build to play around with, and you definitely feel like a cowboy when playing it. Probably should have done my character up in some weird cowboy outfit for this video, but screw it, I'm a mess today. So, is this build actually worth it? Well, if you're up for a bit of fun and something a bit different, absolutely yes. Does it compare to Virginian builds that are out there? Not really. Potentially could go with a headhunter stance with this, just if you are that accurate. Because one of the really, really annoying features is that weird marking thing. Doesn't always mark the enemy that you really, really would like it to. You know, that guy that's like running towards you at 1,000 miles an hour and is about to kill you? Or that shotgunner, and you're like, oh god, I really just need this to friggin' crit, but nope, it pinged something else at the back of the group. It does tend to try and be, or mark, the enemy that's closest to you, but after the first shot, enemies tend to move around and it becomes quite frustrating. But it is a hell of a lot of fun, and even without the crits, you do still hit like 1.4 million damage a shot, roughly. But it is a bit of fun. That's all this build is. It's just a bit of fun. I like making these sorts of builds because they help me work on my aim. Just because my aim is complete and utter potato. So I need to really, really work on my aim. But like I said, it's a bit of fun. It's quite survivable, even though you are running Perfect Glass Cannon, just because of the way it's set up, which we'll get into in a minute. Does quite a chunky bit of damage per shot, and overall it is actually just quite effective. You kind of have to slow down your plays. It's quite a sort of slow and steady style gameplay, but here we can just sort of see me trying to find, one, the enemy that's been marked, and two, just sort of try and highlight the damage, just so that we can try and get through the enemies as quick as possible. So hit about 1.4, 1.5 mil on non-crits, and on crits we hit about 4.6 mil, I think it is, which is pretty juicy, and it really actually does chunk enemies, especially if you're able to get those headshots quite consistently. But I will leave the overall workings to you guys. Now, interestingly enough, because of the way in which the buff on the weapon works, it completely negates the, because in the previous video I said that there's diminishing returns on critical hit damage. Once you apply your critical buff with Diamondback, it negates diminishing returns because it's amplifying your critical hit damage by 20%, which annoyingly means we don't get the amplification. But as long as you're below 240, you critical hit damage, you do get every percent of it. So Diamondback, as we know, Grupo Mask with crit damage, armor regen, Sacrifice, crit damage, armor regen, Improvised Holster with crit damage, armor regen, Fox's Prayer with crit damage, and Contractor's Gloves with crit damage. And we're also rocking a lovely Walker Harris backpack with Vigilance with crit damage, armor regen. Just in case, we are rocking a UMP 45, which does put our crit chance to like 40 odd percent. At base we're at 10. With 211% critical hit damage. I quite like the UMP 45, not a lot of people do, but I would recommend if you're going to run this with how it's set up, with low crit chance, high crit damage, with a bit of survivability thrown in, having a SMG is quite handy because they basically have their own innate critical hit chance. Overall, I think this is quite a fun build, and I would definitely suggest people to try something like it, especially if you do have a potato aim like me. Definitely teaches you where to shoot and when not to shoot, but it does work quite well. Anyway, that just about does it for me. Have fun, good luck, don't die, and Happy New Year.